Hey, what's going on, family? T Speaks here. Just wanted to jump on. Happy Wednesday to you all. Listen, I know right now there are so much uncertain paths that we can take. I know that your mind is being pulled in a million directions. You turn on the news to try to find out what's going on, what should you do, and you hear about more cases. You hear about the deaths. You're hearing about those that are in Brooklyn and they're being loaded on 18-wheelers, which shocked me that we, the leaders of the free world. Hey, Amy, what's going on? I appreciate if you guys can share this out, because this is a word, this is a message that I received. I know that it's difficult times right now. One of the most difficult times that we have is really exacerbated because we don't know what's next, because we can't see even sometimes in front of us. It's kind of like if you walk into a room that you're familiar with, but the room is dark. For one quick second, we get a little panicky. We get a little anxiety, like, what's going on? What's here? Even if the room is familiar, it's because it's the unfamiliar territory that we're in right now that causes many of us to panic. Many of our faith is being, and many of us, our faith is being tested. Not removed, it's being tested. Each one of us we've been given a measure of faith. But right now the enemy is attacking the faith. And here's the way he's doing it: with the unknown, causing you to think for a second that God has abandoned you. And I got on this morning, I wanted to just share a revelation that God gave me today. Today I had to go to therapy for my arm. So I'm in a doctor's office. So I left my house, right? And now I've done the route many times, but I always, and those that know me intimately know that I'm directionally challenged at times. Sometimes I'm not sure about where I'm going. I'm not sure of how to get there. I know what my destination should be, but I'm not sure of how to get there. So I pulled up my Waze, right? And I put the address in, which Waze already knows it. And I'm driving. And Waze is taking me in a way that I haven't seen before. It's taking me through roads that are desolate, with the farms and those with the livestock, the cows. And I'm looking around going, this doesn't look familiar. And for a moment, I said to myself, I'm going to be late for my appointment because this thing is taking me. I don't know where I'm going. So I'm reliant totally upon the Waze system, the technology that's there and provided for me to get me there. So I'm saying to myself, I'm going to be late. I don't know how to get there. I can't turn it off. I have no point except but to trust this system that it really is still working and it's still getting me there, but nothing is familiar. I drive through the streets and it's not that many miles from my house. And I look and I go, wait a minute. It got me here at my destination the same time that I was supposed to get here had I known the way to take. And God said to me at that moment, this is what I'm doing in life right now, in your life, in the lives of my children. You will get to your place of destiny at the appointed time, but the route that God is taking you through is unfamiliar. And this is the time to trust him. That is the word of today, to trust God. I went through roads and paths and literally when he did that, I was like, my God. And I was on the phone talking to someone and I asked her, did you hear that? Because God was saying, you got here because I was guiding you the whole time. In your life, not just the doctors to the destination of the doctor's office, because Waze, I trusted Waze. And God is telling us to trust him. Though the direction, though the destination is set, your destiny is there. He's taking us through uncharted territory, and that's where the fear comes in at. To turn off the machine and to maybe try to do it for myself, to do it on my own. But God is saying, hold on to his unchanging hands. Your destiny has not changed. Your future is still intact. All the blessings that God has for you are still yet before you. When I arrived at the doctor's office, I said to myself, my God, and I want to just say to those that might be panicking, it's not for the coronavirus. I have bad allergies, no fever, no cough, no anything. But here's the thing. I got to the doctor's office and immediately, simultaneously, I heard the word. This is what I'm doing. I'm taking you through areas that are unfamiliar to you. Your surroundings are not the same as they used to be. The paths that you're used to traveling is no more same. Your place where you were already set to arrive at a particular time is still there in front of you. It never moved. God says, I am the Lord thy God. I changeth not. But the problem right now is many of us are relying on our own understanding. But you need to trust in the Lord with all your heart. And I want to get into that another time. With all your heart means completely sold out. It means I trust you when I can't trace you. It means I trust you when I don't understand. It means I trust you when it's hard for me. It means I trust you when it looks like I can't make it. Because the truth of the matter is, family, you can't make it on your own. This is the season where God is saying, my children know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Coronavirus is a stranger right now. God is saying, my sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Follow the word of the Lord. It never changed. It's unfutable. It will not change. I've got so many messages inside of me that God continuously gives me. Right now, I'm working on getting the area to put it to where we can get out the car, because get this, those that have been watching me for years know that I went from having a studio to having nothing. I literally do it in the car because my studio changed, but the word did not change. Your destiny and where you're supposed to be is still intact. It is still there. And here's the thing, God is able to get you there. I know you're seeing where people are sick, and I know you're seeing that people are dying. I want to say something right now. You can challenge it if you want. When those, excuse me, I have allergies. When those people were born, it was appointed unto them to die once. It was appointed unto them. This death did not come by accident or surprise to God. It was already written what would happen and the way it should happen. But God, listen, the Bible says all things work together for good for them and those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. If you got purpose inside of you, and this is where you got to look to the side and go, do I know who I am? You got to look in the mirror and say, do I know I am an individual with purpose? Because you have still some that are wandering around, wondering, who am I? And right now, the reason why people are panicking, and I'm not getting off the road, I'm still there. People are panicking because they have identified themselves with their workplace. They have identified themselves with their boss. And you all know, I don't have a boss. I will never call another man or woman a boss in my life. You are not the boss of me. And people right now are shook because their identity was intertwined with their workplace. In the moment their identity, I hear it say, their identity was intertwined with what they put on, their clothes, with their red bottom shoes, with their tight dresses, with their nice suits, with their beards, with their identity was really intertwined with stuff instead of their God. Instead of their God. Instead of their God. So now that you have everything separated from you, you are forced to wonder, who am I really? Who am I really, and where am I supposed to be, and what am I supposed to do? Trust in the Lord, saints, because God is going to get you there at his appointed time. It may not be familiar and it may not feel good. And to be honest, if you look all throughout the Bible, and if you want to come a little closer, if you look at every man and woman of God who have absolutely obtained any type of notoriety, any type of something that you will look at them and go, wow, there's a true man of God. Check their resume, check what they've been through, check what they came through, check the fire. And fire is often there so that it can burn off all of the impurities. Fire, going through the fire. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro. They went through the fire, and what did it reveal? First thing it revealed is the internal fortitude to withstand all of the vicissitudes of life, which means things can come at you and they can literally challenge you. They can bump you, they can knock you, and yet they stood in the fire. And it revealed the next thing in them, that God was with them. Because they looked at it and said, wait a minute, I know you threw 3 in there, but I see 4. And I don't see them bowing down, but I see them up and dancing. And when they came out of the fire, that's the key word, family, out of the fire. See, because their destiny was to ultimately go down, 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 and come up the other side. It's the same thing with you. Let God take us through this. Don't leave him. Don't despair. Don't isolate yourself. But he that haveth an ear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. I am Pastor T Speaks. And no matter what, I am on the road to my destiny. And listen, coronavirus is speaking, but I don't hear it. Why? Because my voice, not my ear, his voice, I'm in tune in my spirit to my Father's voice. And what does he say? Cry aloud and spare not. Tell the people to do this. Tell the people to go this way. Tell the people to when to hold it and when to fold it, when to let some things to go. Tell the people to once again start to evaluate who they are. Start to evaluate the relationship that they have with me. Because listen, when I was coming to this doctor's office, I was reliant totally upon ways. How in the world can we rely on so many things outward? And if you notice, those that are trusting your bosses to bring it home and to give you and to pay you, you guys know I left my Wall Street position. I left it in search of my destiny. I heard something calling me. Purpose was pushing me. Destiny was calling me, and I had to answer. Because who I am to be, notice, be because I'm on the road to becoming who God purposed for me to be. Wall Street couldn't hold me anymore. I rejected the familiar for the unfamiliar, because if God is ever going to get you where you're supposed to be at the appointed time, you're going to have to trust him more than ways, more than quote unquote a boss or a supervisor or a company that's giving you a paycheck, because those things are failing. God's hand, his strength, and his provision shall never fail. Share this broadcast out, because there may be, even if you've heard all of these things before, there may be just one who needs to hear it. There may be one that's on the breaking point. There may be one who's given up. There may be one who's ready right now to throw in the towel. And what I'm recognizing is God never goes after one. He always goes after many. And he does it sometimes by one. And even at that point, it is God and I working together to get to you. I'm Pastor T Speaks, and I love you with all thy heart. Trust in the Lord. And lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him. God, I acknowledge that you opened my eyes today. And you guys, I want you to write later on, tune in, because I'm going to put up something else. I acknowledge that you opened my eyes this morning. But I also acknowledge that you have my destiny in your hands. I acknowledge that you literally are able, get this, able to get me there at the appointed time. But last but not least, I acknowledge that I can't do it, that this is bigger than me. And that's when God says, you know what? You are my child. And I am your brother, and I love you. I'm T Speaks.